for tonight's call, because I feel like this is the kind of stuff that I kind of like thrive off of. I was even teaching Leslie a couple like tips and tricks of things that I do to just track like how much I've made, every week, every month, every year. And I have my plans going back all the way to like 2016. So no matter what, my goal is to always grow each year, which was a little bit difficult in the year of COVID, but ever since it's gotten a lot better. So I'm going to show you guys a couple things that I do just to help me be successful, and then a couple plans that of course are probably going to be more directed at my own team rather than Leslie's, because I know that we do have different requirements. So just keep that in mind. Anybody from Leslie's team, she's going to send out the requirements that she has for you guys. I do mine quarterly. And so every RVP has like pretty much like a basic guideline, and then we all change them based off of like what production we do have in our different regions, because they are so different. So let's dive in, shall we? So the first thing I wanted to go over would be the TM and ATM requirements, since we are entering a new quarter. So from July to September, which is this weekend, I'm so excited. These are the requirements for our team. So an ATM is to gather 5 new hero courses. And what's nice about that is that's, less than 2 per month, since you have 3 months to do so. And then a TM, they're really averaging about 3, per month for 1 month, to be able to hit the requirements, keep their 25 or 20%. And then booking tournaments. I feel like that is such a vital, piece of our company, and it always has been since day one. But one thing that I wanted was that that I did a little bit differently from other RVPs is that I have this broken down by programs, because we enter everything for one tournament per how many programs you have at that one tournament. So I think that an ATM that is, just getting their feet wet, they just, got a new title from being a rep with us and for training. I think that it's so doable to get 8 different programs. And what I mean by that is, one tournament could have a crank it hole and a hero hole, or TSP, and so that would count for 2 programs. And then a TM, in the company, they're really people that are, they're right up there with corporate in my eyes. They're at the top level of production. They're helping build teams. They're, booking tournaments not only for themselves, but for their team. They're helping them be successful by getting new hero courses and so on and so forth. So I just wanted everybody to at least see the requirements. And then of course, if you have any questions, my team definitely get a hold of me, and then Leslie's team get a hold of her to see if these are different for her. Does anybody have any questions on this slide at all before I move on? Oh, one thing that I'll add as well is that one thing that I always stick to is, say in this last quarter, you didn't hit your TM and ATM requirements. And what a lot of us do is we change them per season, because for example, it is super hot right now. So if I have a ATM or TM in Palm Springs, going to be super, comparable to Michael Clancy out in Arizona. It's really hard to get events on the books right now. So you're going to have to think outside the box. You're going to have to figure out how to do indoor fundraisers or recurring, donations and stuff like that. So say, for example, last quarter, you didn't hit your requirements. Well, this is a fresh new quarter. I'm like, you could hit those all in your first couple of weeks. Boom, you've already moved up. And so that's something I like to do with my team. So then that way, say you just wanted to check out for a couple months, or you had something personal come up, whatever it might be. I'm like, I've had times, in my business with Elite over the last, 12 or 13 years where I just needed the month off. And so no big deal. Come back, and we want to help you get there as fast as you can, so you can make the top percentage in our company and stay there. So moving on, a couple of things I feel like would help with that. Weekly check-ins. And I was going back and forth on whether or not we should have weekly or daily. But to be honest, I know that I've heard similar things between like the Gallaghers and Leslie, right? So mine out here in Florida would be Greg. Greg and I talk every single week, or not every single week, every single day. And so you should be at minimum, checking with your RVP at least weekly. And if you have different goals, share those with them and let them know like how you want to be held accountable. So that's probably one thing that I wish I had a little bit more. I will say having your father be the CEO of the company, it's hard to get some of that time, right? Or to have him be like, hey, this is what you need to do. Or at least in my case, my own dad. And so I am one of those people that like thrives off that. I'm like, I want to know like what your goals are for me, what my own goals are, and I want to not only hit those but crush them. And so, but not everybody's like that. So I know that I have different people on my team where more encouragement, other people on the team, they just need a goal or like a contest and they're like, all right, cool, I'm about to win it. And so make sure you get on some sort of schedule and just check in at least once a week, if not daily, if you're really motivated and trying to be successful. And so some of the questions that I would have ready before your next, meeting, whenever you want to schedule that with your RVP, or if you're an ATM, with your TM, would be definitely, how much do you want to earn monthly? And so I did this, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years ago, where I was like, I got really clear on like what my goal was for the year. And I remember, I don't know how many years ago it was now, but $100,000 just seemed huge to me. Like I was never going to get there. And so that was like my goal. And I did reach it my first year I set out for it. So I was really excited. But had I not gotten like really focused on, okay, so what do I do every single month? What do I do every single day or every week? What's my goal for, events, so that I'm staying on top of things to push for higher, like closing percentages, all those sort of things, then there's no way, who knows what I would have raised or, been able to earn that year. So I think that that is definitely so important to start with, is like, what do you want to earn monthly, so that we can help you break down what that looks like in our company with Elite. So again, you guys have probably already read some of this page, but how many events would you need to book and work to reach that goal? Because a lot of times when you book them, you may not work them. Overrides are great, but obviously you're going to make the most income by going out to them yourself. So if you're really good at booking and you don't really want to be on the course, okay, cool. So let's set a goal for that and let's figure it out, because I'm sure the rest of the team would love to go work all those events. And then if you are somebody who does pretty much just book for yourself, okay, cool. You're not going to have to book as many events, but how many do you need? And then on top of that, I feel like I definitely touched on this last week, that hero courses are so vital, not only for just hero days, and hero days can go every which way. You can have amazing days out there where you're, raising incredible numbers, breaking all of our, elite records and stuff like that. But the average, is somewhere around tournament numbers. And then you could go out there and raise only a few $100 one day. So, they are inconsistent, but they're so vital because of what it leads you to. You can have so many different programs booked with that one hero course, and they are letting you out either at least once a month, but maybe even multiple times if you're doing a demo day, or if you want to come and try our new putting, hero fundraiser that we have in our hero deck. They're leading you to more tournaments. There's so much to come from that, and you never know who you're going to meet at some of those courses, that you do want to get clear on how many courses you can visit either per day or per week, or whatever that looks like for your business. And then same thing with events, how many can you call per day? And of course, don't forget, but our new and improved recurring donation signups, how many would you need to get signed up, or what does that look like? And I'm going to make a note to send out in an email what a couple different examples of that broken down looks like, so that you can decide for yourself if that is your new goal, to only sign up recurring donations, or, maybe you just add it into your pitch as an option. But I know a lot of people out here in Florida were like, oh, well, then that's my only goal. I'm not even going to pitch anything else but recurring donation. So don't forget that. Let me write this down really fast. But does anybody have a question on this page or anything that I've covered so far while I'm writing this down?
It's going to take me time to digest all this, so no, not right now, but I'm really excited to hear the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. And Michael Clancy, I think I heard you speak up.
Yeah, what do you recommend? How many calls a day, or what is your recommendation? If you have, I mean, if you want to be successful, how many hours a day should be calling, or how many courses should be visiting, things like that? Just like a
Yeah.
rule of thumb.
So, I know for me personally, it has varied so much. And so that's where I always want people to come up with like something that actually seems like something they can keep up with. So I would set a crazy number. I remember all of us used to work in an office together in California. Michael, you probably remember that back in the day. And so in the office, we had a big board. And so we had different goals on the board of like getting a certain amount of tournaments booked. Well, for me, I'm like, cool, I don't care if I call 30 to 50 events in one day, but that was the only thing that you could do with Elite back then to make money. So now I would see like, hey, does calling 5 tournaments a day make sense for you? Or is it 10? Because, half of them at first, if not more, are going to be just leaving voicemails, so I would come up with like a number of calls. And then just stick to that. And then same thing for me personally, my goal when I go and visit courses, for example, would be 5 a day. I used to be like, oh, there's no reason why you can't hit 10 courses a day. Well, if you want to do anything else with your life or be able to keep up in all the different ways we can make money with Elite, or checking on your teams, or get to, put together this PowerPoint, whatever it might be, it's probably not the best idea. So one thing that I've stuck really like strict to is when I go out and I visit courses, I only go and visit 5 a day. Then I'm more excited. I can schedule 5 that are like grouped together. And of course, say there's one more in like that little grouping of courses, go see the 6th one. But little things like that is been really helpful for me. I hope that helps at all, Michael.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you.
So
Audra, Audra, it's like time frame. It's like from these hours,
yeah.
I know I'm going to make calls. Like it's not number of calls. It's like hours, like these hours at these times. That's the time I have to make the calls. And then I just get as many as possible at that time,
And I remember, gosh, this had to have been at least 10 years ago. Amanda sat down with me and she helped me literally write a schedule out from the second I woke up until I went to bed for an entire week. And my goal was just to stick to that for 1 week. And so we went over like, okay, well, how many hours a day? So I love that. And I was like, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 hours a day. But that included like what time I was waking up, what I was, how long it took me to make breakfast, if I was going to the gym in the morning, like all these different things, so that I had a really good idea and I could try to stick to it. And I am somebody who loves structure and organization, so that works for me. But at the same time, I'll end up at some point getting sick of that, and I need something to like change or have a switch up, and then I'll think it's like really cool when I just switch, me calling tournaments or courses from 9 to 12 to, I don't know, 12 to 3 instead. That's exciting for me. So I do like that suggestion for sure. Now, Michael, one thing I think might help, not with figuring out how many calls or how many hours to call, but in the next couple of slides, I break down how many tournaments I would be shooting for, or programs. So you'll hear me say that a lot, how many programs I'd be shooting for to earn a certain amount of, I guess like earnings with the company, right? Or income. So I broke down and I almost did it for 5,000. I thought, if I just went from somebody brand new who just wants to make a couple extra grand a month, what does that look like? And then somebody who was like, no, I want to do this full time. How do I live a really comfortable, living? Unless you're in, a beach city in California or something, but, or here in Florida, even. I was looking at houses earlier today and I'm like, wow, okay. But anyway, so I wanted to show the bigger gap. And then if you guys want to meet somewhere in the middle and just replace, a $5,000 a month income, this is what it would look like. So at first, here's just a couple tips. So say you just want to come in and make $2,000 more a month. Well, For me, I would focus on new hero courses at first. You get, 5% more income on that first hero day, which is a great incentive, but it's leading you to so much more when you're first starting. And so it might not be the best idea to call a bunch of tournaments when you first get going because their dates are all over the place. But a new hero course, if you have your setup and you just got started, you could be making money within a couple days. And so then once you get comfortable with that, you are going to need to be able to pitch a course on, or not a course, but a tournament on getting multiple events at that one tournament with multiple programs. And then of course, trying to build a team to then do the same. So for $10,000 a month, your goal would be getting 2 to 5 events per busy booking day. So when I started making like really fun money in the company, I watched our Friday and Monday tournament days because those are the most popular in Southern California. Out here in Florida, I'm learning it's more weekends. My goal was, oh, cool. I saw last year I had 2 tournaments. Well, let's see what would happen if I got 3 or if I got 5. Or if I, and then Michael French has events and then my mom has events and, other people are booking events too. I'm like, oh my gosh, before you know it, we have 10 different tournaments with multiple programs and we are scrambling to find enough people to cover all of them. So that's where I really started to notice is I got really, what's the right word? Focused, I guess, on, or intentional on booking as many tournaments as I could on those busier tournament booking days. Then from there, I would help your team and yourself have an average of fundraising $1,500 per fundraiser or per program. And so $1,500 might not seem a lot for the Terrys on the team that just absolutely kill it. But if you can make that your average, it's so much easier to kind of like base where you're headed in the company off of that. Because I do feel like it is such a good number to always have as like your goal. Focus, and then of course, focus on building teams to fundraise in all the different ways through Elite. And what I mean by that would be, recurring donations, selling drivers, setting up demo days, selling subtle Patriot gear, which I'll go over. So I want to break this down a little bit more on the next slide before I take any like questions or comments, but so
you kind of went dead there for a minute. I'm not was dead with everybody, but I lost probably like a minute there. Are you able to just kind of go over that one more thing?
What do you want me to do again?
Just the last like minute and a half or something that you're talking, it just kind of went dead. I don't know if it did for everybody, but I just missed what you're saying. So, and I want to hang on there.
You know what? We'll send out the recording so everybody can play it back. But what I think will help more than anything is honestly going into this next slide anyway, because I'm going to go just a step further. That was just like the beginning of how I would, I guess, some tips to make it to 2,000 a month or $10,000 a month. But this is like broken down numbers. So for $2,000 a month, what that would like equate to would be $462 earned per week or only $66 per day. So I wanted to give you an example with that $1,500, raising on just one program. That means at the ATM level, you made $300 in one day, right? Well, your goal is $462 per week to get to $2,000 a month. So you would need to book 7 programs a month and make sure that you raised only $1,500 at each of them. And boom, you've already earned $2,100 for the month. And what I loved about that is that's less than 2 events per week. So you're telling me you only have to work 7 days a month physically out on a course to pull in $2,000. That's the kind of stuff that I like to break down. And I'm like, dang, okay, what could I do with all the other days in the month? There's just so much room for activities, but this one was a little bit harder to break down for me. And so to be honest, I wanted to stick to programs, meaning hero days, different programs at one tournament, stuff like that, because once you get into recurring and all of that stuff, oh my gosh, like the sky's the limit. but I feel like this is so easy to track and to like really set solid goals with, especially because recurring like donations and revenue is still new for us. So with this broken down, for you to make $10,000 a month, that would be a goal of about $2,300 a week, or about $333 per day. So with that same example of $1,500, because that is, you know, your major goal is to always raise about $1,500. Now, if you did that at one event and you had two different programs, you can only physically cover one of those. If you're a TM, right, or anybody in the company, you can only cover one. But if you're at the TM level and you booked the tournament, you chose which one you were working, and then you had somebody else cover the other event, then that means that you would have made $525 at that one event. Now, if you booked 3 events, say, on one day, because that's your goal as a TM or somebody who wants to make $10,000 in a month. But if you only booked 3, because we've had plenty of days where we booked a ton more, you know, especially in California, we're looking at some of those calendars coming up and I'm like, oh my gosh. But say you book 3 events on one day with 2 programs each, and they each raise $1,500 at the TM level, you would be making $1,125. Now, in order to make over or just about $10,000, you would need to do that 9 times in 1 month. So how I wanted to think of that is, okay, so you just need to do that 2 days per weekend, and then one weekend you're gonna have a 3-day weekend of doing that. So I don't know if that helps, but are there any questions on this slide at all? Or do you want me to dive into it more?
Again, you keep going in and out, and I don't know if anyone else it's happening to them, just chime in, because I don't know if it's my phone or if it's Audra's, but when we have the recording, if it is you, then we're gonna
It's
miss what
not.
you're
It's
saying
not.
anyway.
I hear it very clearly. So, and
Okay,
I'm on
good.
my
All
phone
right.
as well. So
Okay, then I won't say anything more, because if it's gonna be good on the
thank you.
recording, I'll get it then.
And
Thanks.
then when you replay the recording, you'll be able to see my screen too. So that'll be good as well. Noelani or Michael Clancy, do you guys have anything to add to this, or anything that you think I might have left out, or just do you guys want me to go over a different example or have me break it down, you know?
The only other thing is, like, when you start adding programs, the simplicity of a crank it whole and a TSP is awesome. Those are 2 programs, but then you start throwing the super ticket, and then now you're in a whole other, level. And then you start adding, sales of crank drivers, and
Yeah.
you're just really just so happy leaving the event. And you're so happy that your team members are also, and your reps that, you work with, are making wonderful money as well. And the charities are so happy. I mean, you just leave feeling so good because you've helped so many different people, and, you've been able to really make some good money for yourself and for your family. So it's wonderful programs.
Yeah, and I wanted to put something that I didn't think was that hard to accomplish. And so I don't want to like offend anybody by saying that, but I think that 1,500 is very average, especially having somebody, like yourself, Noelani, or Terry, or Marcy, or, whoever on our call right now that consistently raises well over 2,000. I think that that's like their starter point for most days out there on the golf course. So I wanted it to be like, hey, if you just do 1,500, and for anybody that is good at booking tournaments, I'm like, Greg, even out here, he's only been with us a couple months. I feel like I keep giving him shout outs, but he could easily be booking 3 events with multiple programs every single weekend, and so I think that it's so much more doable. I think what I usually bring up is, honestly, most people are just nervous to try, or to mess up a phone call, or they're nervous to bring up something wrong when they're in front of a manager at a golf course or something. But if you really put aside a lot of those like fears, and you're basing it off of these numbers, oh my gosh, like, this is so doable. I know Michael French, he does this all the time, of course, when he's well and isn't going through some medical hard times right now. But I'm like, Michael French, and I know you're on the call, and I don't know if this is rude to bring up, but how old are you, Mike? I'm like, he kills it at this, let alone, we have Rain on the team, and I think she's 20 or 21 years old, so one thing I love is that we have all walks of life, and this is literally possible for anybody and everybody on the team. It really isn't, oh my gosh, there's no way I could be making that kind of money.
To answer your question, I'm 74 for another month.
Oh my gosh, Mike. I'm so glad that you did answer my question. That's impressive.
So Audra, Jason beat me again yesterday. So just to put it out there, he did it again.
Oh, I'm like, okay, Jason, I like it. This is becoming a habit. So Jason, you guys probably heard on one of the calls recently, it's been his goal to beat Noelani. She's been consistently beating him, but granted, she's been with the company how many years? So it's been really exciting hearing their, not rivalry, but you know what I mean? Goal setting, if you will. And so hearing that he's done it 2 times now, I'm super excited for you. Congratulations, Jason. Jason, I guess with that, I don't know if it's appropriate to ask how much you guys raised or what you guys felt helped you get to certain dollar amounts, but if you guys would share that, especially if it's anywhere in the ballpark of 1,500, then please do.
Sorry, couldn't get to the unmute button. I think just being excited and believing in what you're doing and, pointing out that you're out there for the good cause. When I'm at tournaments, I do kind of mix in that we're raising money for veterans and the tournament. I know it's just for the tournament, but a lot of people give just for the veterans, so I don't want to leave them out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know, just exciting and be happy and,
Yeah. And then I love that you have been consistently having those whiteboards up. I feel like that is huge. Carter and I covered an event on Saturday, and I was like, oh my gosh, we forgot our whiteboards. This is detrimental to what we could raise today. We went and we did fine. We both raised. Actually, shout out to Carter. He raised the most that he has at any event this weekend. So we're really excited. We both raised over 2,000 here in Florida, which we weren't sure how consistent or, what our averages should look like out here in Florida. So we've been finding tournaments that are, we're fundraising higher dollar amounts, which makes me really happy because I was a little bit nervous with it being a primarily retirement state.
Audra, I don't mean to interrupt you. I have a whiteboard question. Where do you put the whiteboard? Do you have it on an easel, or where do you just hang it somewhere, or where do you have it? Where is it?
So Jason puts a big one in front of his tent. Jason, what do you have on like either side? Because I can't visually, let me see. I know I posted it in our group me, or I think Jason might have posted it in our group me, Michael, but I can always send it to yours as well.
Yeah, I just put whatever tournament it is, like hero of the day, or if there's a tournament like a baseball tournament, like Grand Slam group of the day, something semi-witty or whatever, and just write the number big and the group number, and if they want to put a name, they'll put their name down. But it does help.
Can any of you guys see like where my little picture should be on our chat?
But is it lying on your table, or is it hanging somewhere? I mean, do they come up and write on it? Is it on an easel, or physically, Michael, where do you?
Can you see like where it should be showing a picture of me talking right now on Zoom?
I see them holding up a whiteboard.
No, they're kneeling around it. It's on an easel, and I just kind of bungee the top of it kind of around the tent, because you know how the wind goes on golf courses. So
that answers my question. It's an easel.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael.
I actually hang mine. I hang it from the top of the tent down, 6-inch chain, so it's easy to view. It's very small, but perfect for camaraderie.
Yeah, Mike, I've got about an 18 by 24, and it just hangs on my canopy at the back, right above my my sign and above my table, so that as they're coming up to where the money bucket is, they can see what the winning person has already donated, or the largest donator so far is.
That's great. It's such a great idea, and I'm going to incorporate it. I've already bought one, but I didn't know what the heck to do with it. I mean, if I was supposed to lay it down or, whatever.
Especially in tournaments, it really makes a huge difference.
I picked mine up in a grocery store. It's magnetic, so I put, instead of using markers that dry out, I use magnetic letters like I used to do on the refrigerator. And
Okay.
it really pops. Yeah.
Troy Teal always said that there's like two things he would never go to a tournament without, and that's a whiteboard and his drivers.
Yeah, well,
he raises crazy money. So once Troy said that, and he is raising crazy money out there hitting for tournaments, I was like, okay, we need to do the same. So I just wanted to remind you guys, additional ways to make money with Elite. And so that would be obviously, selling crank drivers, setting up Elite savings pass accounts. Terry and I were talking about that recently, giving her a couple examples of different Elite savings pass accounts that you can set up. I know that Leslie just shared with me that they are building it into the membership at their golf gym in Colorado, which I thought was genius. And so you can talk to kind of anybody and everybody that would want to either fundraise for their own business and incentivize people to come into their business or do business with them. They'll get the Elite Savings Pass membership for a year if they do so. And then, of course, schools or a baseball league or whatever it might be. Any sort of charity can run them as well, but it just helps them fundraise more. And then, of course, recurring donations through the Hero program, Savings Pass, selling Subtle Patriot gear, which I'm going to be emailing out with our link for our call from last week. Morgan finished and put together the most beautiful, packet, if you will, showing all the different items that we offer now through Subtle Patriot and what you can get all of the gear for, but then what you can sell it for as well. And then, Hero program fundraisers outside of golf. So I know that we've been setting up shop at either like a big golf expo or at Walmart or Home Depot. I know that there's other ways to fundraise for the Hero program at like nightly raffles or gatherings at, like salsa nights at bars, whatever you guys want to do, just let us know. Okay. Now, what I wanted everybody to remember too, especially since we're going over, the different requirements to keep certain levels or to make sure you can advance to the next level, which is always exciting, is that your managers want you. Oh, I just totally forgot this other. Anyway, we want you to succeed in your business. And so please, use us. Contact us every single day. Greg will sometimes bring up oh, I just don't want to bug you too much. I hope that, I'm not adding too much to your plate. I'm like, no, the fact that you do communicate with me every single day and let me know what you have going on, what's in the pipeline and what you might need help with, because he does have a full-time job and somehow is still booking courses and tournaments, all day, every day on lunch breaks and when he's driving to and from work, it's crazy. We want you to be successful and we want to help you. And one thing that I've learned is that I've been put in just some really bad or sticky situations over the years, but I'm so grateful for those because then I can help any of you kind of get out of those or present things in a different way. So please remember to utilize us. And then what I wanted to leave you guys with as well, Carter actually sent me this video randomly. I'm pretty sure it was Carter, a few weeks ago. And I kept thinking, oh, I want to send that to the team, but it wasn't sending properly, honestly, through GroupMe. So I'm hoping that this sound will play, but if it does not, and it's not working, then I'll just send it out in a link in the email afterward. So if it doesn't work, will somebody just write in the chat that it's not working? So then we'll know.
On the planet, Average Belgian horse can pull anything between 12,000 and 14,000 pounds. Now, did anybody major in math or accounting? If the average Belgian horse can pull between 12,000 and 14,000 pounds, how many pounds can 2 Belgian horses pull? 24 to 28. Incorrect. Your math was correct, but you use logic. And the reason you use logic is because you weren't exposed to what Belgian horses can actually do. They should be able to pull 2 times their weight. But here's the beautiful thing about the strongest horses on the planet. When you yoke 2 strong horses together, and they're both Belgian, both of them are willing to overexert themselves to tell the other one, I'm setting the pace. That's how they get to 35,000 pounds. Belgian horses, it's the only people I hire for my team. It's the only people I even allow me to run in my circle. If you setting the pace in your circle and ain't nobody outpacing you, that's a problem. Belgian horses, strongest horse on the planet.
I love that. And so it kind of goes back to what I was mentioning before, about I like having goals, you know, and so I know not everybody on the team is going to be like that. But I like having goals. I like there to be some sort of competition or a contest or whatever it might be, not to just, you know, I don't know, I guess like rub it in somebody else's face. I perform better like that. And I love having what I call like a running buddy. So, I'm hoping that by watching that, you guys will take us seriously by reaching out to us, setting up some goals so that we can be your running buddy, or we can link you with somebody else on the team that has similar goals so you guys can be running buddies, whether you're in the same state or not. So that's kind of what I wanted to close with tonight. I'm excited that it wasn't a super long call, but if anybody has any questions, I'll open it up for questions now too.
Audra, I love this. This was great. Thank you so much for going over these things. Literally, I know that I will answer any questions that anybody has. I do talk to Sky, I think, Terry every single day, and Tracy, and I bug Jason every day. So if there's anybody else that I can help, I'm here to help in any way. And I know Mike and I are the TMs over here in SoCal, but we're ready to lock arms with any of you and help you. I know we are. So
Dale, you can bug me anytime you want.
thank you, Michael. You're so sweet.
So Audra, can you just recap nutshell the kind of what it is we have to do to get to get TM or to get ATM and then ETM?
Yeah, so the main things that you're going to want to focus on, and I'll go back because every quarter is a little bit different. That's why I don't have it memorized. But for this quarter, the 3 things you're going to want to focus on are basically gathering new hero courses, booking tournaments, and then growing your team. Of course, the growing the team is probably the one section that isn't a make or break for your level, right? Or for you to keep your percentage, because it's based on like what we need. So, but booking tournaments and getting new hero courses, those are vital, especially, you know, for our company to keep growing and to keep getting more events and stuff like that. So at the ATM level, Terry, your goal is to get 5 new hero courses, but remember that's through July through September. So if you just go gung-ho and team up with Jay or Noilani or Jason even, and you guys want to go book a bunch of courses together in the next week or 2, and you hit 5 new courses, boom, you're moving up to an ATM girlfriend. And then of course, you know, booking tournaments. So that would be 8 programs, not 8 tournaments. So that could just be 4 tournaments with 2 programs. Or that could be 3 tournaments with 3 programs if you're building in super tickets. And then, you know, growing your team for an ATM is getting 0 to 1 new team member because as an ATM, you might not necessarily need it at first. Most ATMs are growing the business and getting, you know, better at booking everything themselves instead of being sent to events and being a rep. And so you might not need it, but if you do start booking a bunch, we would love to have you bring somebody on.
Awesome. And then one quick question, when you're booking a tournament, do you have to have that tournament fulfilled by the quarter, or if you book it and it's out further, does that count for your quarter?
So, you know what? I'm like, this has been a while since I've been tested on this. I believe
Sorry.
corporate said that it needs to be within that quarter. So,
The tournament has to happen in that quarter, is what you're saying.
yeah, so I think that it needs to
Okay.
be booked within July to September, which would make sense because you're trying to, your goals are for that quarter. So yeah,
Okay, thanks.
yeah. No, thank you for bringing those up.
Terry is so good at recruiting. I mean, seriously, she's so good at recruiting.
She's great at talking to people in general. I'm like, I was shocked.
Yeah.
You know, when she went and talked to the hero tour guy that was out of the
Yeah.
event, I'm like,
I'm
what are
gonna
we
talk to
gonna
him.
say?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Don't talk about that.
I was gonna
Don't
talk to
talk
him.
about that.
So these goals and things are for, you know, like a field rep is someone that is vital in our company. We need people that will go out and just work and get the jobs done and show up and be an amazing, you know, rep for our company. So anyone who is field rep, I love every single one of you. ATMs are at a level that are helping a TM, which is territory manager, to build and grow that territory. So helping and growing would be adding hero courses and also booking tournaments and actually adding on, you know, some new team members, which it's 0 to 1, literally 0 to 1. So that is vital for the TM to have that type of assistant. Because if a TM is constantly just feeding all of these programs and these tournaments to people, they're not actually getting help.
Mhm.
So we need the help, we need the assistant, and that's what an assistant territory manager is. So just keep that in mind if you are ATM, to be an assistant and act like assistant and be that what your title is. Okay,
I love that. Thank you.
thank you.
Anybody else have anything to add before we close up shop for this lovely Tuesday night?
Loved it.
Thank you. I'm glad. All right. Well, thank
Love
you
you
guys
too.
so much again. I'm going to stop the recording and let me know when I can set up, you know, appointments with each of you to just check in and to start setting some goals.
Me too. Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys.